Hi there, friends, and welcome back to the Why Music Podcast, the podcast where we explore different musicians, their music, and different musical ideas throughout history. You often hear me say on this podcast that we're going to be exploring the life of a really inspirational musician, and I think this episode might be one of the most inspirational that I've ever done. And before we get onto it, make sure that you're following or subscribing to this podcast wherever you're listening to it right now. So without further ado, here is an exploration into the life and music of the one and only Jason Becker. Jason Becker was born in Richmond, California, which is located on the west coast of the United States of America in 1969. There were so many things that happened musically in the world in 1969, and one of the most infamous things was the Woodstock Festival that some of you may have heard of before. It took place just under a month after Jason Becker was born. On one of the promotional posters for the Woodstock Festival, there is a bird perched on the end of a guitar. I don't know if there's some magical cosmic connection there or if I'm just making it up, but Jason Becker, guess what, became a guitarist. Jason Becker grew up with a lot of musicians and guitarists in his life, and very, very quickly, of course, through years of practice and hard work and listening, he became a virtuoso. Now, I'm aware that some of you may not know what the word virtuoso means. Essentially, to call someone a virtuoso is to recognize that they can do things that the vast majority of people can't do. In Jason Becker's case, he had an incredible guitar technique which allowed him to play really accurately as well as playing really quickly. Have a listen to this. This is a short clip of Jason Becker playing live in Japan when he was still only a teenager. Whoa, listen to that. He became part of a band called Cacophony with another guitarist called Marty Friedman, and they released 2 albums, one in 1987 and another one in 1988. Also in 1988, he released his first solo album, which was called Perpetual Burn, and that happened just before he joined David Lee Roth's band, replacing the guitar legend Steve Vai. He's still only 19 at this time, but he was already becoming well known for his guitar skills, especially by groups of electric guitarists all over the world. It was at this point, however, that his life changed. He began to feel some discomfort in his left leg, and eventually he was diagnosed with ALS, or as it's also called, Lou Gehrig's disease. Unfortunately, because of this disease, he soon found it difficult to walk, soon found it difficult to play his guitar, and eventually it robbed him of the ability to talk. For many people, being faced with a disease like this would have meant the end of their dreams, which is perfectly understandable, but not for Jason Becker. He and his father came up with a system which allowed him to communicate just by using his eyes. There are actually a few videos to show how it works, and so I'll put a link to one of them in the show notes for you to check out for yourself. Using this system and with the help of some computer software, he has continued to write music. In 1996, he released his second album, which was called Perspective, and his 6th album came out in 2012 called Boy Meets Guitar. In 2012, a documentary called Jason Becker, Not Dead Yet was released, which told the story of his life up until that point. It was very well received, and it even won a few international awards. In order to create his 7th solo album, he raised $100,000 and released the album, which was eventually called Triumphant Hearts in 2018. I first encountered Jason Becker's music through this album, and it features many incredible guitarists such as Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, and others. Personally, I think there are 2 main things that I take away from hearing about Jason Becker's story. The first is that with hard work and lots of practice, anyone can become really, really good on their instrument. And in addition to that, anyone can become really good at producing and recording and releasing music for others to enjoy. And the second thing for me is the idea of community. The idea that if things are very difficult for you, if there are many barriers in your way, hopefully you have friends and family around you who can help you to achieve your dreams, even when you are unable to do it by. And come to think of it, there's a third thing that this teaches me, that it's probably better to do things together than to try and do things alone. There are so many people out there who have to give up on their dreams or feel like they have to because of an illness or because of a disability or because of various circumstances. Maybe it's a money issue. But this is where we all come in to be able to help others achieve their dreams. If we can help someone to overcome a small barrier here and there, hopefully, eventually, we can all get to a point where we all get to achieve our dreams with the help of our friends and family. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really hope you've been inspired by Jason's story, and I really hope it makes you think about how you can help others around you and even how you can ask for help if you need help in achieving your dreams as well. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of this episode, but I really hope you've been inspired by Jason Becker's story. As always, make sure you share and follow this podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Check out Jason Becker's documentary. I'll put a link to the trailer in the show notes, and check out some of his music as well. So until next time, friends, take care of yourselves and peace.